Hello again, and welcome to the TryPod, and this week it's the Super Bowl preview. Lego!
Lego!
We could be gigantic. Everything I need, like it on Sunday night. This could be worth the risk. What the guarantees could be the truck that doesn't buy. Just give me a try. Just give me a try.
We're back for one last pod before the end of the season, and it's going to be an absolute ripper today. We've got a number of special guests that are going to be joining us, but let's jump right into it.
Yeah, so it's the Super Bowl. We've had an awesome NFL season, 9-0 winning streak against the spread. We've killed it. We've made a lot of money.
Yeah.
We've got Nettie from Nettie Given Sunday is going to join us again, as he did before the conference rounds. We were spot on with everything, the totals and the sides there. But first, we've got renowned Sydney journo. You might know Big Willie joined us for some of our rugby league pods. If not, any listeners of 2GB, he was with Fox Sports and most recently working with Sunrise.
Yep.
7 Sports.
Reporting on the sport there, so let's try and get him on the line now.
Hot like a sunrise.
Hello.
My man Willie, how you doing?
Good, mate.
How you doing, big fella? You're live on the pod.
There we go. I can hear you now. Sorry.
Live on the pod line, Bling Bro. Thanks for joining us. It's been a little while since we had you, broke down the rugby league. You're our man with the finger on the pulse in Sydney. How's things been going, bro?
Oh, not too bad. Changed jobs a couple times since then. But yeah, now fully into sport, so it's all going well down here, mate.
Yeah, mate, you've moved into TV. I saw you were reporting on the Australian Open recently. Obviously, we've had the Australian Open down here. That's pretty cool, bro.
Yeah, doing a bit of producing work for Sunrise, so and that all on Channel 7. That means I get to do a little bit of reporting here and there, and with the Fox stuff, it's all good.
That's awesome, bro. And some of our listeners might know that Alex actually used to be a professional tennis player. I looked you up because tennis has been kind of topical, and we're a betting podcast. We're not going to shy away from the big issues. Match fixing's been in the news lately. And I'll see what you think about this, Willie. But I looked up Botha's ATP record. Do you know what your record was, Bo?
No idea.
Any idea?
Not a clue.
You went 23 and 23 over about
that's
4
not
years.
terrible.
Which isn't, it's mediocrity. But look, it's not too bad. But probably your claim to fame was beating Kai Nishikori.
Yep.
A few years ago. Do you want to tell the listeners quickly about that one?
Oh, yeah, all right. I'll be quick. It was Junior Davis Cup down in Melbourne to win the Junior Davis Cup, essentially, for Oceania and travel over to the Czech Republic. The winner did. It was the very last game in the final. I was playing Kei Nishikori for the win, take out the whole tournament. 1 set all. I'm down 5-2 in the third set. It's 40-degree heat in Melbourne, and as you know, I'm a larger sort of person, so I was perspirating a lot. Started cramping, had the trainer out, and I reeled off the next 5 games and won 7-5 in the third.
That's sensational.
Pretty good.
Good on you, mate.
Spectacular.
Those who don't know,
I'll probably still beat him now.
Kei Nishikori's 6th in the world right now?
Yeah.
So my question is, now knowing what we know now, Kei Nishikori, such a superb player, is that not damning evidence that he threw that match?
No, absolutely not.
Looking at you,
I was at my
what
physical
you amounted
peak. I was
to.
at my physical peak.
How
at
did
14.
you beat Kei Nishikori?
I don't know. It's
You
just the
would
will
have had a
to
better
win.
chance of eating him than beating him.
Well, the thing was, maybe I bet on myself, and then that was just too much. I just had too much motivation going.
Money is big motivation. What do you make of it all, Willie? It's a bit of, it's scary times for just lovers of pure sport.
Yeah, well, I, like a lot of other people, saw that Four Corners report last week, or earlier this week, sorry, with the list of 350 names on the betting blacklist. Jeez, I don't know. I guess it's naive to think that it doesn't happen, but when you see a list of 350 names, and especially when the ATP boss knows absolutely nothing about it, he doesn't know anything about the biggest sports betting company in the world, all that stuff, it's pretty worrying, isn't it?
Yeah, he kind of doesn't want to know about it, I think. But, I mean, it's such an easy sport to get away with it in. I mean, in this, it's a one-on-one sport, which makes it really, really easy. And just the other day, a bloke that I grew up playing tennis with, Nick Lindahl, he pled guilty to match-fixing charge. So, but I was going to say, Willie, when I was playing around, playing tennis overseas in Europe and that kind of thing, Jacob actually called me, and it was too late at that point, but he saw me on Sportsbet, and you could have bet on me. And he said, "Damn, we should have fixed that match, and you should have thrown it, but it was too late."
But we were only joking. We've got a lot of integrity here. You know, we're about
Of course, we
making
would
money
have never done it.
the right way. And let's get on to the Super Bowl. Willie, you're a massive NFL fan. You actually spent a bit of the American winner over there and got to a game to support Jared Hayne. So we'll start with Jared Hayne. We started up an Instagram account in November this year, and since then we've got about 11,000 followers,
Yep.
mostly Americans, so they probably don't care about Jared Hayne as much as us Australians do. But mate, give us your take on kind of how he did this year and what you see in the future, his NFL future.
Well, it's really hard to kind of weigh up what he did this year because no one's really quite done that before, and we were all expecting it to go better, to be honest, after we saw how well it started in the preseason, and there was a lot of people saying we need to keep a lid on expectations, but it's pretty hard to, when you take the first one for 53 yards, and I guess it just kind of snowballed. Whether that's a good or bad thing for him, probably bad, but and I was of the opinion that they would, I don't know, I thought that he would actually start on the active roster, and he did. And I was kind of surprised when they put him back to the practice squad, just because I didn't really think the other options on special teams were any better. And it kind of proved to be the case for the rest of the year that they weren't any better, but maybe he should have started the year on practice squad and just had a full season of learning before they threw him to the wolves like that. It did seem like he was being made a scapegoat for part of the season. And I don't know, I think it'll be pretty interesting with Chip Kelly there. He's rather inventive, let's put it that way. So I think they'll find something for him to do if they want to keep him on the active roster. I can't say if he will or won't. It's just become impossible to predict. But I think they're pretty short odds to be drafting some running backs in the draft this year. So he'll definitely have some stiffer competition.
Yeah, I think he did remarkably well from what anyone could have expected to make the active roster. There's so much competition to make that 57.
Huge achievement.
Yeah, people need to understand that. And look, he really had extremely limited opportunities. I'm with you. I was frustrated because that team was going nowhere. They didn't have Adrian Peterson in the backfield or, some superstar like Devin Hester returning punts.
Well, he could have. He just got injured.
Yeah, exactly.
Carlos Hyde, they rode him too hard straight away.
And they had a lot of injuries at running back, and they just refused to really give the Hayne plane a good shot, which was disappointing to me. That coach got paid about $6 million to win 5 games, and he's gone. So you're right, it wasn't a great situation to be in. So I wonder if, under Chip loves to kind of give the ball to his running backs in a lot of different ways, be it either running the ball or kind of those short passes. He loves that, and he loves playing a lot of offensive snaps in a game, which could suit Jared's style. I think he's definitely going to give it another go for at least another season, right? Like there was.
Oh, he should. He absolutely should. He's done the hard work.
Exactly. So we're excited to see where that goes, and that's got more Aussies into the NFL too. And now it's the big show. Enough about Jared Hayne. How do you see, you're a Green Bay Packers fan, your Packers were a bit unlucky against Arizona in a wild finish in the desert.
Yeah, having said that, they never really looked like they were going to get that far, so
no,
hard to be disappointed.
Exactly, it was a pretty crazy season for them. But do you think the best 2 teams in the NFL are in the Super Bowl right now?
Well, no one really wanted to admit that Carolina was one of the best 2 teams for the entire season. Everyone brings up, well, look who they played against and all that sort of thing, but the reality is they just didn't really lose that many matches. And, any given Sunday, anybody can beat anybody. So it's not like there's really schedules that are that much easier than others. So I think Carolina absolutely deserves to be there. Cam Newton's been incredible, and the defense has also been incredible for the whole year. And while Denver has chopped and changed a little bit with their quarterbacks, the defense was outstanding for most of the season, and I think it's a pretty perfect way for Peyton to go out if he can get the win. I'm just not sure if he'll be able to.
Yeah, I tend to agree, and I think I was questioning that as well. Who have they played? Who have they beaten? But I think that's kind of been put to rest in the last 2 weeks. They played a red-hot Seattle, and then they played, like an extremely talented Arizona. And look,
And they crushed them.
They did. They crushed both teams, really. You know, like, yeah, they conceded 24 second-half points against Seattle, but they were in a position where the game was almost unlosable, and they were being ultra-conservative and kind of playing prevent. And the next week, I think they even showed that they learnt from that, and they didn't take their foot off the throat against the Cards. I think without a doubt they're the best team in the league. But what do you make of Denver? I mean, what do you really think? Like, if they find themselves down 4 in the fourth quarter, do you believe that Peyton can drive the field for a score?
I think so, absolutely. I think he'll still be the best player in the league, like that sort of thing in terms of his mental capacity. It's just whether the arm can do it. But, you know, he won't have to hopefully throw every pass in to drive someone down the field. They'll always be preparing for some Peyton magic, but as long as the running backs can do their job, I know they don't really run the ball too much if it's, late in the clock and that sort of thing, but I would back Peyton Manning to get the job done if it came down to a last-minute drive. I think it's just too perfect, I think the entire team would just absolutely have to do it for Peyton in that situation, but whether it actually gets down to a last-minute drive, I don't know. The teams are actually pretty interestingly matched up. I mean, Carolina scored the most points per game all season in the regular season, and Denver basically had the fewest yards per game, which is a pretty good matchup. And then offense, both were sort of middling teams in terms of the passing game, but I think the other part of it is Carolina was tops in the running game as well, but Denver was also tops in the defensive rushing category. So it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup. Cam Newton could be that X factor, I guess. You get sick of hearing people say it, but, Denver is amazing against the run. But if you take that away from Cam, he can still throw a pretty deep ball,
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I mean, still on Peyton Manning, obviously it'd be a fairy tale finish if he were to win the game. And I know that, it's quite a possibility that they're getting blown out fourth quarter, and obviously then he'd remain in the game till the final whistle. But at what point do you bring out Brock Osweiler if you're down 17 points at halftime, if you're down 14 points in the third quarter, that kind of thing, or do you just stick it out with Manning?
I don't think they would possibly stick it out with Manning if it looks like there's no chance of winning. I think the NFL is cutthroat enough that they would be benching Peyton if there's some serious issues there. And it could well be, because Carolina's defense has been just about as good as Denver's has for a lot of the year. I actually threw a sneaky tenner down on the Carolina defense to be the first point scorers of the game.
Nice.
Yeah, it was paying pretty well, but I just thought, if Peyton gets to start, throws a little intercept in that first one, maybe Josh Norman can take one to the house.
Yep.
Luke Kuechly, perhaps.
I like it.
But I think I don't think there's room for that kind of sentimentality. If they're getting thrashed at halftime, I think and the passing game is the problem, I think Brock's got to come in.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this game because really anything could happen. And as you say, the kind of game that Peyton Manning has, it's all going to be dictated by what the game situation is. And both of these teams could score on the defensive side of the ball. They've both got disruptive pass rushes and they've got playmakers. And you could definitely see some defensive touchdowns. So I like that as a bet. I'm with you as well, Willie. I think I'm fascinated by the battle of the Carolina offensive line against the Denver defensive line and who can win those short yardage battles. I know there's going to be a couple of crucial fourth downs, and geez, it helps to have, a supreme, juggernaut QB, supreme athlete, specimen of a man that can almost pick up first downs like it's his job. I think that's going to go a long way to picking the game. Having said all that, do you have a pick for us?
Oh, my heart says Denver for Peyton, but my head says Carolina. I'm going to go Carolina I'm going to say by 7 points.
Nice.
Yeah.
Probably fair.
And look, the bookmakers pretty much agree with you, brother. And we appreciate you taking the time. Yeah, the line's pretty close to that, so you could probably be a bookie if you wanted to. But You're killing it as a journo. We appreciate you taking the time. We're definitely going to be in touch throughout this NRL season. We're, really looking to expand, have a big year, and looking forward to that, mate. So cheers for tonight.
No worries. Thanks, fellas.
Cheers,
Have a good
brother.
one.
Take it
Cheers.
easy, brother.
See ya.
All right, always good insight from Willie, and obviously we'll be getting another guest on the pod. Is that going to be a bit later on in the show? Will it be? Or
I think we'll bring him on. We're going to bring Neddy on, talk about the
Imagine-
line, talk about more of a betting angle. Neddy was our resident NFL expert. He also tipped at 60% against the spread this year.
absolutely killed it this year with
so-
obviously Netty Given Sunday, giving out free picks as well every week, but also writing a superbly entertaining column. So we'll certainly have him on side for next year as well. But he's been a fan favourite on the pod, so
Absolutely.
we'll try and get him on the line again now.
We're trying to get him on the line, and then we'll hit up the prop bets and summarise our best bets at the end of the pod.
Hello?
Neddy.
How are you, boy?
We're
How
good,
are you,
brother.
mate?
How you doing?
Sorry, you didn't pick me down here.
You're very fuzzy, mate. Where are you?
I'm just inside now, but it's pissing down rain where I am.
Yeah, fair enough. Get inside, mate. Get inside. We can't hear a word you're saying.
Get dry.
Alright, I'm dry, I'm inside, I've got a beer.
Going in dry.
He's gone in dry. Yeah, thanks for joining us, Ned. We've just had Willie from Sunrise. He's broken down the game. He's tipping a Carolina 7-point win. You'd be happy with that?
I'd be stoked with that, absolutely. I think it's probably going to be a pretty close game as well, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Super Bowl. We've got, two fantastic defenses. I mean, would you say we have the best two teams in the NFL facing off this weekend?
Well, I think so, definitely. I mean, Denver, there's a lot to be desired there, but when their defense is good as what it is, that sort of catapults it up the teams, the league rankings and whatnot. So I think so, definitely. I can't see any other teams that I think deserve to be there more than these two.
Yeah, and they do say defense wins championships, and we do have the top two defenses in the league by a fair amount. Actually, I've been sifting through these DVOAs, and we've been talking about this a little bit in the past. And obviously, it's basically a measurement of yards per play, but given more importance to, let's say, a 3rd and 5 rather than a 2nd and 27, something like that. Yards picked up on a 3rd down, that sort of thing. So defensively, Panthers second by a fair margin, 18.5% better than your average team, and Denver in front by a huge margin, first at 25.5% better than your average team. Are you drowning there, mate?
You there, boy?
Yeah, we're here. I'm not sure if you can hear us, but it sounds like it's torrential downpour.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah, both is quoting a few stats about the monstrous Denver defense. We can go back about 3 or 4 years, the point that I want to make, and I've been making money on Denver for the last 3 or 4 years because the whole Tebow mania when Tebow took them on a winning streak, made the playoffs, won the division, won a playoff game. Everyone was kind of saying, is it divine intervention? How good's Tebow? He's a winner. And what nobody was saying was, this team is holding their opponent to 10 points every game, and it's allowing Tebow to win these games by scoring one offensive touchdown, And it was that defense, that Denver defense, that was it's been elite for about 5 years. And then you added Peyton Manning to that team, and people thought, now it'll be above average. That was instantly a contender as soon as Peyton got there. Now, we know he's had his highs and lows. He's 39 years old, and definitely how well he can throw the ball is going to go a long way to deciding this game. But that defense, they've added kind of guys that are at their peak or on the back nine, because this team has been built to win now, and they can win on the back of their defense. Are you scared of that defense, Neddy?
Yes and no. I think our offense is built pretty well for it. Our offensive line's a lot better than what New England's was. And, I think it's going to come more down to them just Von Miller, and that's what everyone sort of keeps talking about. I mean, we handled JJ Watt relatively well this year, and we know they make plays, we know they're quick and all that sort of stuff, but I don't think Carolina's, going to shy away from that because teams know how Carolina play, and Carolina don't care. They're just going to run it at you, they're just going to keep making plays, and it's no secret. I mean, the Cardinals knew, Seattle knew, and neither one of them could stop it either, so...
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, what you're saying is right. I mean, obviously your offensive line is much better than the banged up O line that the Pats had. But in terms of It is a torrential downpour where you are, mate. Can you hear us now?
Yes, it is. Sorry, boys. I just realised my laptop was outside.
No, that's all right, mate. I was going to say, in terms of strategy, I mean, obviously you saw the Pats against the Broncos, and the Pats just basically threw it every single down, just like they did against KC. But, I mean, would you say that the Panthers are a bit more versatile in the fact that Cam can, he can not only throw, but they can also sort of run him, and you've got a bit more of a ground game than, obviously a Pats with a banged-up O-line and a fifth-string running back?
Well, I think absolutely. I think Tom Brady busted one run in that game and took it for however yards. I think it was 12 yards or something like that. And that just shows how Denver's defense works a lot of the time. They love that tight man coverage, and they love just pinning their ears back and rushing the quarterback. But, Cam's one of the best in the league against the blitzes, and I think Denver know as well they're going to have to be a lot more creative in the things that they do. If they rush three, if they go with man coverage, it's going to leave that scrambling lanes wide open. And I mean, if they sit there in zone, then you got people like Greg Olsen that are going to sneak underneath all that sort of stuff as well. So it's not going to be easy for them. I wouldn't know how you game plan around a quarterback like Cam at all.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty good point too, and it's going to be hard. And can you game plan around Cam, because he's had one hell of a season, and it's as good a time as any to get this in. No, that's music to your ears, Nettie. All right, let's get into the handicapping point of view. We're going to break down some props as well, but let's start with you both. You're betting on this game. What side, what total, and tell us why.
Yeah, look, so obviously we should introduce the line. Look, in Australia at the moment, it's sitting at around that 5, anywhere from 5 to 6. Mostly, most sites have it at 5.5. Obviously, the Panthers favoured on the neutral venue there in San Fran. And the total started up around 46. It's come down a bit. It's 45 in most places. You can still grab 45.5. In terms of the side, I loved Carolina. I loved Carolina 2 weeks ago. They were laying 3 at home against Arizona. Now the line has obviously come up 2.5 points. Look, if we break this down, I think that if you put Denver right next to Arizona, Arizona's not that much better than Denver. What would you say? They're maybe 1 point better than Denver.
Yeah,
sure.
Pretty comparable, yeah.
So the Panthers were laying 3 at home to Carolina. Now they're laying 5.5 at a neutral venue against the Broncos. So the value's not there for me on Carolina, especially after the line move. I think it would have been fair maybe to play them at the -3 that it opened at. I can't bring myself to play them at the -5.5 that it is now. But in saying that, I really, really worry about Peyton's ability to score some touchdowns. We've seen that Cam can put on points. We've seen that the Panthers can put on points in the last 2 weeks that they've played. So I don't see where the points are coming from the Broncos. But I'm also scared of the Broncos defense. So I don't really like a side. I cannot take the Broncos plus 5.5. It's not enough points for me. I'd need 7 or more to do that. But I really love the under. And you can still find 45.5 on tab. I think this is, obviously the 2 best defenses going up against each other. This Broncos defense is something else. It's something that Cam, hasn't seen. The Cards had a good defense, but in saying that, the Broncos are on another level. So I think there's going to be a lot of rushing in this game. There's going to be a lot of pressure defensively, a lot of 3 and outs, I think. And I'm going. I love the under 45.5. Cannot bring myself to play a side, but I will have a lot of props for you later on. But that's my thoughts on the side and total.
Yeah, Nettie, I'll give you the last word, and I'm not going to say too much because I have to really echo both the sentiment there. I do think the line is just a little bit too high. I love Carolina all season. Now, we can argue about how good they are at forcing turnovers. There's no doubt they are, but they got some lucky turnovers too. I just wonder if Patrick Peterson doesn't drop that shanked bomb. You can't argue that Carolina were far better than Arizona, but a lot of things have broken their way in the last couple of weeks to get those big scores, and I think they're overvalued at this point. I'm sorry to say it. I think that Denver defense is sensational. I think people don't understand how well they played to keep the Patriots to 18 points 2 weeks ago. That Patriots team would have put 40 on just about anybody else with all those weapons back. I think this Denver defense keeps them in it. If they get defensive scores or, critical field position turnovers. It goes a long way to winning the game. I definitely prefer to take the points. What I've seen out there is we can grab +7 if we're willing to take a slightly lower price of $1.79, which is kind of like -120 in America. So you give up those few cents of value, but you get a key point. And I'm also definitely looking at the under with both teams looking to run the ball and Peyton able to maybe not stretch the field, but maybe pick up a couple of key first downs. Nettie, tell us why you're taking the Panthers. I mean, whether or not you're laying the 5, why you think the Panthers win this game.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I've already put money on Denver. I got them at +6 on Will Hill the other day.
That's
I think Carolina wins.
You got the 6.
And that is why you're sharp. That's why you're sharp. I missed the 6 on Sportsbet, but hoping it creeps back up there.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, we're in the business to sort of make money, and sometimes you just sort of have to put your heart and head aside. You can make the right bet. Sometimes it doesn't come off, but at +6 for a Super Bowl, you have to take that. I think Carolina's too good. I love their swag, and I love everything that's going on for them at the moment. You know, I remember last year when, you know, their coach's house burnt down. Cam got in the car crash. I mean, you look at the car, he could have died. It's fairy tale all over. You see them all year, and, you know, it could be perceived as them being overly confident with all this stuff, but I just think they're a team that plays a team. They genuinely love each other. They genuinely want to win for each other, and I just think they pull it out in the end. Cam's too good.
That's heartfelt stuff, mate. Thanks again for all the work you did for us this season. Geez, I hope lightning doesn't strike your house or something. Be on the phone to us. It's a torrential storm here. I hope you can hear us all right, because I've got a little audio message. Actually, I said we were going to have a third guest. We've got kind of a guest that couldn't be here in the studio tonight, but he's left a message. He's a big fan of Nettie Given Sunday. And look, he's left a 5-minute message. I'm only going to be able to play a few seconds of it. But here's just a bit of a shout out, Nettie. Hopefully you can hear this.
Get your bets in. It's going to be a low scoring game. I'm going Broncos +5, paying $1.90. And I'm also going to go Broncos +3.5 and under 43 points. That's paying $3.75. So, yeah, it's going to be a low-scoring game. So, yeah, everyone jump on. And, yeah. Also, one for Nettie. Wanker of the season goes to Cam Newton for wearing a tea towel on his head pretty much every time we see him. So, yep. Up the Bronx, guys, and get a horse up your head. Yoo-yoo!
Dear Lord.
Did you catch that,
Did
Ned?
you catch the last part, Nettie?
Can I say something? I want to know who gave him the script for that, because I know he's not smart enough to figure out any of that stuff or knows what a line means.
Mate, I'll have to send you the whole file. He starts off by saying that Peyton looks like he's throwing a dildo down a hallway. He said he hopes that Cam Newton's mum has plenty of nappy sand. And he also just finished as well by saying, for me and you, Nettie, that we're going to be invited to his wedding. That was, of course, our mate Jonesy. So looking forward to that.
Oh, we already knew that, didn't we?
Yeah, well, that's just saying he's looking forward to seeing us at his wedding.
That's really great, guys.
Sorry, Bo,
right.
didn't quite make the list this time.
It's just a grim... Every single time we come on this pod, you two are going to a wedding or coming from a wedding, and I'm just sitting here with my thumb up my butt.
What can we
I
say?
invited you to my house the other week. That was all right.
Yeah, that was good of you. Yeah,
you got invited to something, Bo.
You're a good bloke. Like a Broncos supporter.
Thanks, mate.
So that was our close mate and close friend of the pod, Jonesy. We appreciate you taking the time to send that in for us, Jonesy. All right, we've got to let you go, Ned, but you might have looked at a couple of prop bets. You got any prop bets that you've kind of seen value? Anything you want to throw at us?
The only things I've really paid too much attention to, I think, are probably first touchdown scores. I think a lot of the time there's people that sort of slip under the radar a little bit, and personally I'll be putting my money on Devin Funchess from Carolina, or maybe someone like Emmanuel Sanders for the Broncos, just quick, bit sneaky, and they'll be covering the more high-profile players, your Demaryius Thomas, your Greg Olsons, etc. So that's what I'll be putting my money on for.
That's it. Always looking for the value. I appreciate your work again. It's been an awesome season, Ned. You've got a cult following. You've made money for people, and hopefully enjoyed it as well.
Hope you got the day off for Super Bowl.
What's that, boys?
Hope you got the day off for Super Bowl, mate.
I have, we're flying down to Melbourne and going to have a bit of fun there, so I'll be sure to fly my pod shirt.
Excellent. Grab a picture if you can.
Awesome, bro. All right. Appreciate your time, brother. We'll speak to you later.
All right.
Good luck.
Thanks, boys.
Best
Cheers.
of luck to Cam and the boys.
Thanks, mate.
See you, mate.
See you, buddy. All right, obviously
Thanks,
that
Nettie.
was-
Thanks, Willie. All right, let's keep busting through this.
Yeah, let's bust through it. So look, generally on the game, we'll post all our bets obviously online later in the week, probably on the Saturday or something. But we do love the under. We love the under 45.5. We think that'll go up towards game time. So
Yeah,
maybe
that's
just
going to be
hold
one of
on.
those ones where, you read the market, and we're going to keep our eye on which way those lines are moving, and it's about grabbing the best number. Like, I love the game under 45, but if we can get better, we already know we can get 45.5. That's what we're going to be doing. We'll keep our eye. We'll post. We'll post when we think it's the best time to grab the under.
Yeah, and the thing is, the public, as we've said before, loves the over. And I was listening to someone the other day that said that over the last 2 weeks, they get about 30 to 40% of public bets on Super Bowl day. So if you just hold out until then, I'm sure that the public money will come flooding in on the over, and you might be able to catch a 46 or maybe a 46.5, which is it's a hook. It could easily be 20 to 26, something like that,
Absolutely. All right, and something else that's really fun for Super Bowl is throwing down a lot of propositional bets. There's all kinds of things. You can bet on almost any market you can imagine for the Super Bowl. Bo's kind of delved in.
You can
We're gonna
bet
do this.
whether Bruno Mars is going to wear a collared T-shirt. You can bet on
He
whether...
will. He probably will.
Yeah, he probably will. It's hipster Gim. You can bet on whether one of the members of Coldplay is going to wear sunnies. But those are guff. Those are guff props. Let's delve into the actual match props.
There's rarely value there. All right, let's do this rapid fire. Hit me with the best props you found, mate.
All right, so I was sifting through for hours last night to find the best possible props on all of the sites that we use. I've played a number of these myself. First of all, I really like the first half under 7.5. Now, I really do like this
First quarter under
7.5 points. Super Bowls are generally slower starting. They have been historically, and it sort of ramps up in the second half. But I think early on, both these teams are going to be feeling each other out. Sort of a lot more rushing, that kind of thing that ticks down the clock, especially if the Broncos start with the ball. For this bet, especially with the Broncos starting with the ball, I think they're not going to score points in their first drive. All you need is one touchdown, and you can still win the bet. So it's going to be 7-0. I really like that one. It's $1.86 on Sportsbet. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I like that one too. And Carolina usually defers, and they are the favourite, more likely to score and more likely to throw deep. So if Denver starts with the ball, Carolina might only possess the ball once in the first quarter.
Yeah,
I like
right.
that one. What do you got next?
Another one that I like, and going off the same thing that you said with Carolina mostly deferring, I've got no score in the first 6 minutes of the game. That's paying $1.90. It's juiced on other sites, especially if the Broncos start with the ball. They might go a 3 and out, but it'll be 2 rushes and a pass. Takes off a couple minutes, 3 minutes off the clock if they get a first down or so. Carolina aren't driving the field in 3 minutes, so basically all you need is a punt on the first possession. You win that bet.
Yep, similar vein as the first one.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that one.
I really, really like this one. Longest field goal over 43.5 yards on tab. It's 45.5 on other sites. We've seen the weather report. It's going to be 70 degrees in San Fran. There's going to be 0 wind. There's going to be no rain. And I think 2 defensively minded teams in what I see as a low scoring game with little touchdowns. I see a lot of field goals. We've got 2 excellent kickers. And I think that, in these sorts of games, if you've got a 50-yard field goal, you don't even need that. But if you've got a 50-yard field goal and it's 10-all, you're going for that field goal. You're not picking up a 4th and 2 or a 4th and 1 at that point. So I really like that one.
Yeah, that sounds like a good number. My concern would be with the Carolina side of things, that they're more likely to go for it on 4th down. They're an aggressive type of offense, that you could get an opportunity for a 45, 47, 48-yarder passed up because they're going to go for that first down. But even having said that, as you said, if we're expecting a close game, you've got to take those 3 points. And both teams have good, solid, reliable field goal kickers. I like that one too.
Okay, and then I've got a few other ones here, but basically I did have one. Missed field goal, no, $1.20. Now I did the math on this. The 2 kickers combined throughout the regular season, and obviously you can only look at 2015 because they changed the rules with the extra points. But missed extra point, no, is $1.20. They've made a combined 102 out of 106 extra points. Now that adds up to somewhere around 96.5%. The over/under for touchdowns, they're thinking there's going to be about 4 or 5 in the game itself. Now, if you add all that together, $1.20 is probably giving you about a 5% edge for that bet. And look, they're not missing an extra point in the Super Bowl. Plus, I think that there's going to be a few less touchdowns as well than people think. And my last one, total punts over 8.5 on Bet365. That's $1.80, slightly juiced. It's 9.5 everywhere else. Two of the best defenses going up against each other. I think there's going to be Peyton Manning's going to struggle to get first downs. I think going to be a lot of 3 and outs. The defense is just going to be a lot of sacks. I think the Denver defense is brutal, and I think Peyton Manning's getting sacked. Nine punts is all you need, and that's a low number. Everywhere else, it's 9.5.
I guess my only one thing with the punt prop is, again, the same point that Carolina can sometimes go for it on 4th down, but that's pretty good. And I reckon that missed Pat prop for $1.20 sounds like stealing.
Yeah.
It's very unlikely there's going to be a missed Pat. Although it's fresh in everyone's mind because, basically decided the game in the Patriots-Broncos game. But, yeah, the math says otherwise, especially when you're not expecting many touchdowns. My other advice for playing props, you've got Super Bowl MVP, you've got first touchdown, last touchdown. Look, the issue with all of these, I mean, you've got to pick the team you think is going to score, and then or the team that's going to win first of all, and then pick one of those players. But the odds are set up against you. The odds are not in your favour. They juice the hell out of it. You're just not getting value. Throw a couple bucks down just for the fun of it if you're watching the game, for sure. But never put big bets on those kind of markets because they're just like printing money for the bookies. It's very rare to find prop value, but both has found a bit there. We've said what our best bets are, so I don't think we've got much more to say.
Actually, the only other thing, I don't know if you heard this today, but crazy prop bet if you're looking at something, if you're looking at becoming a millionaire. And I do think there's going to be not many touchdowns in this game and a lot of field goals. Graham Gano, 101-1 for MVP, and you can multi that with there to be no touchdowns in the game, and you can fly yourself all around the world and back if you put a buck on that. So
definitely sounds correlated. I'm not sure if I would co-sign that one, but hey, I mean, I only need to put a couple bucks down to make it big.
Actually, one more. I've got one more for you. I really like Peyton Manning under total passing yards. I think that Brock Osweiler may even come on if they're down by a margin in the second half and they really need to pick up some points. If they're down
really
2 touchdowns, 17 points. He may not. Anyway, I've got one. Will Hill's got his line at 240.5. Unibet's got it at 224.5. That's 17 points in there. You could try for a middle.
I actually think if you think Denver has a good chance of winning, then that's a good bet to actually play Peyton Manning under 240 yards because it means that most likely Denver could have a lead and they wouldn't need to throw the ball and they would run the ball. And if they can, make holes in the running game and maybe get a defensive score, Peyton doesn't have to throw the ball much. And I know he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be in that pocket for too long against that ferocious Carolina defense. Mm-hmm. Then you could go under for Peyton yards. And if you want to play Cam Newton over yardage, that's actually probably got more chance of winning if the Panthers are down and he's forced to throw the ball. So just keep those kind of things in mind. Look, thanks again to both our guests. Thanks to everyone who's followed us this season. Look forward to the rugby league season. It's going to be absolutely huge. Even if you're not a rugby league fan, we're going to teach you a lot of ways to make money and a lot of kind of advice and tips about market reading and handicapping.
Well, that's where we really make the most money is on the rugby league. It's not, the lines aren't quite as sharp as the NFL, the NBA, that kind of thing. So we'll delve into that next when the season starts. But the Nines are this weekend as well.
Oh yeah, Auckland Nines. All right, well, it's ultra quick. I do not see how anyone beats New Zealand. That team is a video game.
Silly.
Roger Tuivasa-Sheck and Sean Johnson's show this weekend. I'd be looking for the best odds available. If you can get something like 5-1, I haven't looked yet to be honest. If there's anything out there in the range of 5-6 to 1, that's going to be a fun ticket to bet.
They've got to be higher than that. They're 8-1 to win the NRL. They're already into 8-1. That's crazy. That's too low, I think.
But with home field advantage in the Nines as well, that's going to be fun. That's a pre-season rugby league tournament that we've got starting up over here. But anyway, I know most people listening tonight were concerned with the Super Bowl, so I hope we gave you some good info. Best of luck.
We'll be posting best bets in a few days.
Keep your eyes out as always. Try and get notifications. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook.
Yep. Actually, really quickly, really good promo for kindy bettors out there. But if you're not going to splash hundreds or even thousands of dollars on the Super Bowl and you have William Hill, obviously they had the really good promo Chase the Ace for the Aussie Open. They've got Chase the Score for the NFL for the Super Bowl. All you have to do is place a $30 wager on the team of your choice, and every point that they score, you get $1.
That's pretty good.
I mean, you bet Carolina, their team total over/under is 24.5, so it's worth it.
You're pretty much going to get about $20 back whether you win or lose.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really good. We're going to post any good promos and any best bets that we can. All right, let's get this in under 40. As always, please
Please!
gamble responsibly.